Here's the haunting tale of the Choking Doberman. Are you ready for it? Sit down, curl up, and prepare for a spine-tingling true story. Laura Whitaker's 911 call lasted exactly 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Dispatchers noted 3 anomalies. Max's choking synced perfectly with Laura's screams. A rhythmic gagging that mirrored her panicked inhales. The static hit a child's giggle, high-pitched and looping, as if trapped in a rewinding cassette tape. And the final gasp didn't sound human. Officers arriving at 8:47 p.m. found Max, Laura's Doberman, sitting statue still in the foyer, his amber eyes reflecting the flashlight beams like twin eclipses. Balanced on his paw was a severed human finger, the nail-painted cherry red, a perfect match for Laura's mother's manicure in her 1986 obituary photo. Security footage later revealed a shadowy figure feeding raw meat to a Doberman in Laura's backyard at 3:14 a.m. The timestamp? October 31, 1986, Laura's exact birth date. But the kicker? The dog in the footage had a white diamond-shaped patch on its chest, just like Max, just like the puppy buried with Laura's stillborn twin. Laura's interview.
Max hates raw meat. He's allergic, swells up like a balloon if he even sniffs beef. But the police found 6 blood-soaked butcher wrappers in my trash. The order was for 200 pounds of ribeye, signed by Dr. M. Whitaker. I'm an only child. At least, I was until they dug up the backyard. The soil there, it's always warm.
Even in winter. Dad said it was geothermal. But when they pulled up the rose bushes last week, the roots were braided, like hair. Detective Jameson.
The finger belonged to Carl Meeks, a drifter linked to 5 disappearances from Bakersfield to Reno. The nail polish matched Laura's mother's. Patricia Whitaker, a woman who drowned in Lake Tahoe 2 hours after Laura's birth. Coroner found dog saliva inside the finger's bone marrow. Not on it, inside, like it'd been marinating. We checked Laura's freezer, 37 more fingers, all from different victims, all preserved in clover honey, the same brand Patricia used in her tea. Lab's running tests, but the honey's moving, not melting, pulsing, like it's alive.
Dr. Martinez, forensics.
Meek's autopsy showed human molar impressions on his neck and thighs. Adult teeth, but the bite radius matches a newborn's jaw. Laura lived alone. No siblings, no pets, until we found this. Max's trachea contained 2 umbilical clamps from St. Vincent's maternity ward. Serial numbers traced to October 31, 1986. Laura's delivery room. Her birth records list a stillborn twin buried with a Doberman puppy, named Max. The grave was exhumed this morning. No bones, no collar, just a lullaby etched into the coffin lining, in Patricia's handwriting.
Carl, Meek's brother, voicemail.
Carl called me that night, screaming about feeding the dog. Said Laura's house wasn't a home. It was a nursery. Walls padded with flesh? The last thing he yelled was, "The cradle's hungry." Then, something barked his name. Not a dog. Something wrong. Wrong teeth. Wrong voice. Sounded like
Former neighbor, female, tip line.
Laura's always been off. That dog showed up the night her father vanished. December 12, 1999. Same night the power grid failed for 13 minutes. I saw her burying a deer carcass once. No, dragging it. Like the damn thing weighed nothing. Next morning, the grave was empty. Not dug up. Smooth, like it had never been touched. Last week, my kid swore Max sang "Happy Birthday" in her father's voice. I didn't believe her until I heard a low, warped rendition of "Happy Birthday" punctuated by guttural growls. That's not a dog. That's mocking us.
The criminal, investigator, documentary.
This wasn't a break-in. It was a ritual. Symbols carved into Meek's ribs matched Laura's baby blanket. Specifically the stitching along the hem. The severed finger, an offering. Tox reports found honey in Max's blood, the same preservative used on Laura's stillborn twin. But here's the twist. Laura's DNA was in the honey, not her blood, her saliva. This horror didn't start with Meeks, it ate him. And it's been feeding long before 1986. That grave? It's a larder.
Laura, therapy tape.
Max doesn't need food anymore. Last night, he stared at the moon. His shadow had too many teeth. The cops keep asking about Meeks. Why won't they dig up my grave? Daddy's waiting. He always hated the cold.
Dr. Ethan Pryor, Max's vet, left a final journal entry dated October 31st. Patient's esophagus regenerating human tissue, tongue, vocal cords, molars. X-rays show foreign object pulling itself upward. Dog whispered, "She's ready." Advise euthanasia. He drowned hours later. Claw marks and paw prints leading from his bathtub. The water, sweet, sticky, and buzzing with flies. Coroner's note, cause of death, drowning. Addendum, lungs filled with honey. 6 months later, a hiker found Meeks's van deep in the woods. The interior walls bore bite marks. Some serrated like human incisors, others jagged as canine molars. Forensic teams cataloged 1,247 distinct impressions, each corresponding to a victim's dental records, including Laura's father, whose molars matched the crescent gouges in the steering wheel. Under the driver's seat, a VHS tape labeled Max's birthday, 1986. The footage shows Laura's pregnant mother screaming as shadows swarm her swollen belly. A Doberman watching from the corner, muzzle glistening red. The timestamp, October 31, 1986, 3:14 a.m. The exact minute Laura's twin took its first breath, and its last. Autopsy reports later revealed Patricia Whitaker's uterus had been hollowed out post-mortem, not surgically, but chewed. The dog's collar, etched with Dr. M. Whitaker. Laura's father vanished in 1999. His dental records? A perfect match for the bite radius in Meek's femur. But the kicker? The bite patterns on the van's ceiling spelled again in Morse code. Laura's first word, her father's last. Dr. Martinez.
Max's DNA contains Laura's mitochondrial chromosomes, not just traces, entire strands. Sequencing shows a 98.7% match, but the remaining 1.3% is canine telomere sequences spliced with human fetal RNA. Her twin's coffin? Empty. But the soil? It's amniotic fluid, decades old, still warm. pH levels indicate it's mixed with clover honey and type O negative blood. Laura's type. Advise terminating this investigation before whatever's in that house finishes teething. Last night, lab footage showed the teeth were mine, and the honey in Max's veins? Same preservative used on Laura's twin, the same sacrament her mother drank nightly during pregnancy.
Detective Jameson.
Meek's stomach held this, a grotesque hybrid of fur, baby teeth, and umbilical tissue. Laura's baby teeth, roots fused to canine incisors. X-rays show the teeth were regrown. Enamel dated to 1986. Roots to 1999. That dog isn't a pet. It's a bridge. The sutures in its throat, stitched from her twin's burial gown. Black silk threads dyed with Patricia Whitaker's hair. We're feeding a family reunion. The guest list keeps growing. Found these in Laura's walls, preserved in clover honey, one for each victim. The clamps from St. Vincent's maternity ward. Same as Max's trachea. Same as Laura's birth records. The funeral home director swore they buried the twin with a puppy. But the grave, it's a larder, not a coffin.
Laura.
They'll never understand, Max. You licked my face when I was born. Your tongue was cold, like Daddy's when he came back. My first word wasn't mama. It was, again. Daddy's finger fits now. His wedding ring slides right onto mine. Soon we'll sing. Remember the lullaby? Hush now. Cradle, teeth like bone. Feed the shadows. Bring them home. They'll dig up the grave. They'll see. The roots are braided, like your fur, like my hair. like the stitches in Daddy's throat when he crawled out, hungry.
Criminal profiler.
The Van's bite marks spell Laura in Morse code. Each dot a puncture, each dash a tear. The VHS footage? At 3:14:17 a.m. Laura's twin wasn't stillborn. It was harvested. Patricia's autopsy noted bite marks on the umbilical cord, canine and neonatal. Max, the midwife. Symbols on Meek's ribs? They're nursery rhymes. Rockabye baby, in the treetop. The tree's Laura's family oak. Its roots? Honeycombs. Human marrow. The ribeye order? A red herring. The real meal was the fingers. The honey? The silence. Every victim had a missing sibling. Stillborn, miscarried, buried. Laura's just the first to reciprocate.
Laura's windows breathe. Fog condenses in time with something. Inhales, exhales. The barking counts. 38 growls since 86, 38 teeth in Meek's skull, 38 handprints on my daughter's window, size of a toddler's. Last night she sleepwalked to Laura's porch, found her chewing a honeycomb, her molars gone, roots still dangling from the gums. Send hell. They're in the walls now, the buzzing, the singing. My husband swears it's just bees. But bees don't laugh, bees don't whisper, again.
The case remains open. Files stay sealed, buried beneath redacted timestamps and honey-stained affidavits. Locals know when the moon bleeds red, Max's howls count. Heroes don't stay loyal. Sometimes, they remember and get hungry. Last week, Laura's father pumped gas at 3:14 a.m. His hands? 6 fingers. Nails painted cherry red. His eyes? Reflecting a Doberman's shadow, with too many teeth. The clerk's statement? Redacted. But the security tape shows him dropping a honey jar. The label? Happy birthday, Max. Dated 1986. The receipt? Signed in Patricia Whitaker's handwriting. The time of purchase? 3:14 a.m. The same minute Laura's twin took its first breath, and its last.